training programs combines different methods in order to be able to appeal to the different styles of learners, hence the need for every organization, every employer to know the best methods that works when it comes to customer service trainings. And that is basically what we'll be discussing in this video, highlighting some of the best methods for customer service trainings that you can be able to incorporate to ensure that your customer service professionals are able to offer excellent customer experience. I'm glad to be joined by Paminas, who will be shedding more light in this subject. Thank you, Paminas, for joining.
Thank you, Mary.
Great. I know when it comes to learning or even trainings, people learn differently, or rather there are different learning styles that every training program needs to address. And even before we look at the best methods or training methods for customer service, what type of training really is needed in customer service?
Very good question, Mary. So if you're looking to get the best from your customer experience team, remember we said it's not just customer service,
Yes.
then which areas do you need to train them on? Number one, the product or service that you offer. Number two, communication skills. I feel that is very important. Number three, I would also advocate that you train them on conflict management. And this is where, how do you handle angry, disappointed customers, high demanding customers? Yeah. Another area I would highly advocate is simulation. Yeah, role playing. For example, what happens if you have a difficult client, or if you sell a product? How do you demonstrate to the customer? How do you answer questions, you know, from the customer? That's also another area. And lastly, let's not forget company policies and procedure. For example, if you deal with products, there will be a return policy. There will be after sales service. How is it offered? So as a company, how do you approach that? Yeah. So I would say for me, those are the 5 key areas. Yeah.
It is important to highlight some of the types of trainings that are key, because most of the time employers mainly focus on the product.
Yes.
And we forget communication
exactly
at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of the company policies and procedure. You can also train them on the product or services, and also on the soft skills that will make them succeed as customer service representatives. Yeah.
Now, based on these different types of trainings, what are some of the best training methods for an effective customer service training?
So if you're watching this video and you'd want to get a return on investment on the training, you know, and not just a training that will help you tick a box, I would recommend you approach your training a bit different. Yeah, so these are the areas to consider. Number one is what we call on-job training. So for example, when you hire someone, before you expose them to the customers, make sure they spend a week, 2 weeks, or even a month learning from someone who's already doing that. So you don't even have to invite a third party. Yeah, so you can attach John to Mary, and Mary will teach John how you go about. So for example, for us, we do offer training services. So when clients make inquiries, this is the way we handle the clients. You would imagine someone coming to corporate staffing, if they've never handled trainings, you see they would have a challenge.
Yeah.
So it's not as straightforward as hiring someone and expecting them to deliver on the job. So on-job training is important. Another method I would advocate is what I had mentioned before, simulation. So you know what happens. For example, the tough questions that customers ask. So if you have a new staff member or someone you promoted, or even your team, maybe you've not done training for the last 1 year, look at the common scenarios that they encounter, and then have a simulation exercise. You know, two staff members role playing. And then from there, you're going to learn, so that next time they are faced with such a situation, they're going to perform better. Yeah. Which other method would I recommend? There's also making sure, if it's a training, you adopt interactive workshop. So remember, many people are familiar with a trainer who comes, they just have PowerPoint presentation. That's not enough. So interactive here is very important. So you can do PowerPoint, you can do case studies, you can do videos, you can do role playing. So even if it's a one-day training, for it to really add value, the more the trainees participate, the better. Adults learn through participation. Yeah, so that's very important. So I believe those are what is coming to mind top. But also the fourth one, and very important, if you're used to doing internal trainings, why don't you invite someone like corporate staffing, an external trainer, you know, to give you a different perspective. Organizations that have customer service managers or training managers, they would opt to do the training in-house. And there's nothing wrong with that. But once in a while, invite someone, an external party to come, and they will offer a different perspective, and also the change will be good also for the people being trained. Yeah.
Great. How can employers offer support to their customer service teams to offer that excellent customer experience?
The starting point, Mary, is you need to provide the resources and the tools for your customer service people to succeed. So that's the starting point. So if it's the phone, is it working? If it's the reception area, does it look nice? If it's the gadgets, whatever you sell, the product or services, do they work? So that is the starting point. Yeah. The second, after doing that, invest on ongoing training. So customer service needs, they keep changing because you're dealing with people. So consider, for example, ourselves when we were doing physical training versus now where we moved our trainings to online. So those are different platforms. So customers come, their preferences and the requirements change. So ongoing training really helps. Yeah. Another strategy I can recommend is recognize and reward the customer service personnel who excel, who do a good job. Because then what you're doing, you're creating a culture. Remember what you talked about, the customer-centric culture? So you can only do that when people feel motivated and appreciated. Yeah. And lastly, make sure that if you're doing a training, you cater it to your needs. As we always say, training is very broad, even if it's customer experience, it's very broad. So for example, today you can focus on how to acquire customers, simple as that. Another training can be how to retain customers. Another training, you could have identified a gap like how do you deal with demanding, you know, customers. That could be a need by itself. So focus on a need. Don't just tick a box and say, I want to do customer experience training. That's very broad. Yeah. You can call it that, but tailor it to your need. Focus. Need, yeah. Focus on what is important to your organization. Yeah.
Indeed, I agree with you, especially when you tailor it to a specific need. It's even easier to come up with the learning objectives, what you expect the employees to be able to do.
Precisely. And you'll be able to measure that. At the end of the day, you can look at it and say, this is what you've learned. And within a month, say, has our operations improved? Because you knew from the start what you're trying to address, the gap you're trying to address. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for sharing the insights.
Thank you.
When it comes to excellent customer experience, it is very important to not just recommend for trainings, but get to know which is the best training method for this particular need that I have identified to empower my customer service personnel. And this is where, as Paminaz has mentioned, corporate staffing services comes in handy. Having trained so many professionals from different industries, different sectors, we really do understand how to be able to customize a customer service training to suit your needs. The link below will guide you on how to reach out to us, and we look forward to empowering your customer service personnel within your organization. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.